Hi everyone, how are we today? Just doing a quick all signs reading today. We're going to be looking at your person, okay? More specifically, your person and, whereabouts are they in their healing journey? All right, this is actually a topic that was suggested by one of my lovely subscribers, True North Heals. So thank you so much for your suggestion. I would love taking those on board. So definitely leave a comment if you do have a suggestion for a topic you would like to see in a reading. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, of course. Today I am going to be doing this slightly differently, okay? Because there is, a big part of me that wants to give your person the benefit of the doubt and, really sort of look into, where are they on their healing journey. But there's also a big part of this that needs to be your person taking accountability for that as well. All right, so we're going to kind of look at both sides of the coin when it comes to this, and how far they've come, how far they have to go, those sorts of things. I wanted to just sort of just let you all know that I will be sort of trying to see both sides of the coin here, rather than just giving the positive energy there and just giving the benefit of the doubt to your person. I do just want to be a little bit more realistic, because healing is a journey for everybody, obviously, and sometimes we're not quite as far ahead as we maybe hope we are, and sometimes other people, we can really hope that they are doing really well, but there just does seem to be a certain faction of the population that healing is not a journey, that they are stalled, and not necessarily stalled, but part of their journey is actually not growing and just becoming comfortable in the version of themselves that they have chosen to be, and they sort of stop there. So, I don't want to be biased against, because I am someone who is very, I do push self-growth, and that's something I promote personally in all my readings, is to continue the journey and to, continue to evolve and grow as a person. But there is this understanding here that, that's not what everyone's journey is. There are a lot of people that choose to avoid that journey and to avoid that healing. And unfortunately, that's just part of reality. All right, so all of you here, I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt if you're watching, that you are part of the population that is moving towards those sorts of things. You wouldn't be watching these sorts of videos if you weren't, somewhat invested in your own healing journey in this lifetime. So you, of course, get the benefit of the doubt, but your person, on the other hand, I wanted to just sort of make sure that we are being very realistic with this reading. All right. I will also be starting with Libra and moving my way on through that way, because, sometimes when I'm doing readings, certain signs and placements are just a little bit close to home for me. So I do try to just mix it up a little bit, just to so that I'm not coming in too biased on certain signs, so that I'm giving every single sign, the benefit of the doubt here, and the full scope of collective perspective, rather than having my personal bias any influence on that. All right, so I just wanted to let that be known. Timestamps will be in the description box, of course, as always. I am using the Soul Contract Oracle, and I'm also going to be using this Lenormand deck, which is the red hand Lenormand. I do normally use this for shadow work readings, so I thought it would be a really appropriate, it can be a little bit harsh. So I thought it would be, that Soul Contract Oracle is a very positive minded deck, whereas this deck is a little bit more reality, can be a little bit harsh. So I thought they would probably work really well together for this reading. Sorry for such a long intro, guys. I just really wanted to sort of explain the intentions that I'm setting for this reading. Make sure you do, just use your sun sign is fine, and your person will obviously be the one that's coming through under your sign, because we're doing a your person reading. But if you do want to have a look at what's coming through on your side, cross-watch, their sign as to you as their person. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I hope you all know what I'm talking about. All right, but like I said, starting off with Libra and moving our way on through today. Okay. So, Libra, your person's healing journey. Libra, your person's healing journey. In stillness. So the card itself does say, in stillness, hear the universe's whispers and uncover the answers you seek. Serenity, deep awareness, and cosmic peace. So this actually, in this sort of a reading, this is actually talking about, stillness just in general, that this person is kind of maybe doing work subconsciously at the moment. They're not consciously moving forwards towards healing. They are in a still point, all right, of this journey that, it can't always be highs and lows. It can't always be moving forward or moving backwards. Sometimes we're stuck in the middle, all right? So that's what's happening with this person right now. They're kind of just stopped, stalled. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes we do need to do that in order for that to catch up with us. Sometimes we allow things to come to a stop so that, everything else that has been happening on a subconscious level can catch up, and actually before we actually start taking more action once again. So it's kind of a catch up stillness point, but there is a stillness point. They're not actively working towards self-advancement right now. Okay, Libra, your person's healing journey. Libra, what's going on with your person's healing journey, please? Yeah, so definitely what I just sort of said, all right? We do see the coffin coming through first. In this particular deck, it does talk about, once again, that stop, that end, that the death of something. They're still processing something. There is a transformation that comes with the coffin as well. But, that coming through as the first card, it's kind of like we're at an end right now. So we're just sort of allowing things to catch up a little bit before we do move into the rebirth phase of that coffin, of that transformation. All right. So it's trying to, it's kind of like when you see, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, where this is the cocoon stage. All right, where they've got to turn to complete goo before they can be reborn into something new. So your person is currently in the goo. So that's a fun way to look at it. We do have the garden coming through here. There's a lot going on with this person when it comes to a big part of their journey is, this difference as to, how they are seen. All right, with the garden coming through here, this is a very public, sociable energy. So this is something where maybe this person is currently, trying to work out the difference between how they see themselves and how others see them. Letting go of things like, letting other people's opinions of them matter, other people's judgments matter. So they're sort of releasing some of that. They're kind of just trying to seek peace within themselves right now, and maybe have been working through some, I do feel as I am getting for some of them here too, that there has been like a specific meeting that has kind of put them into this point where they're, maybe meeting you, Libra, or maybe, there's just been this random meeting in their life where, a stranger said something random and it sort of just got them thinking, and that's kind of led them to this point where they're currently at, where, there does seem to be knowledge that they need to move into that rebirth phase. I am picking that up, that they will be moving forwards eventually. But right now they're just sort of working through some background energy, some subconscious energy, just trying to find peace with who they are, as compared to who they think they are, as previously judged by, what other people see of them. So there's this comparison here as to how they see themselves and how others see them. So it's kind of, you know, this public image of themselves and their personal image of themselves. And so they're trying, that's why the stillness is happening, because they're trying to put them both together and meet those two in the middle. All right, we do see the hourglass as well. So this is just going to take some time. This is the time, like, they're just sort of in this phase for some time. All right, I am picking up that this is going to be like maybe a phase of months, you know, up to even a year for these people, that before they do start moving forwards again with that journey. All right, Libra. So that's what we're seeing for your person. You're more than welcome to cross-watch placements. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. And we will move on over to Scorpio and their person. Okay. Scorpio. All right, looking at Scorpio's person today. Scorpio, your person's healing journey. Scorpio, your person's healing journey. Inner balance coming through. Inner balance is the cornerstone of soul growth. Find it and fear nothing. Soul harmony, peaceful heart, inner, outer unity. All right, so this person is just trying to find balance right now. I am picking up very strongly from this person that there's some sort of struggle between, it's telling me that the feminine versus masculine energies here, you know, because that is yin and yang. So it's kind of just, I just feel like for some of you here, this person is really struggling to get out of one and more into the other, you know, to balance those out a little bit. So, for example, if your person is a very masculine orientated person, regardless of gender, if there's someone who's very reality based, very logical, very, you know, tries to be in control of everything in their life, they are just sort of struggling to find that balance of the feminine energy coming in, where they need to actually take emotion into account and they need to nurture their emotion a little bit more. And vice versa. All right, for some of you it's the other way around, but they're really just struggling to find that balance where they can actually have feminine and masculine energy. And you know, because the masculine, in perfect synchronicity, the masculine energy creates a place for the feminine energy to be safe and protected, so that the feminine energy can nurture and be emotional, you know, but they actually work together. They don't work against each other. All right. You know, when we do find someone who is, you know, very masculine or very, very feminine, there is a struggle there where they do find it hard to, you know, a feminine finds it hard to take control or to not be overly emotional about things. It goes into chaos, you know, regardless of whether it's the feminine or the masculine taking over there, it ends up in chaos. So this person right now is just trying to find that balance within themselves. It does seem to be very specifically to do with the masculine feminine energy. So if they're a very masculine person, they're trying to bring some femininity in, and if they're a very feminine person, they're trying to, you know, take a bit more control and whatnot as well. Scorpio, your person's healing journey. I just was about to say your person's inner balance, but that was what we already spoke about. Scorpio, your person's healing journey. Scorpio's person's healing journey. What a tongue twister. Wow, okay, I just had a couple fly out there as well. Okay, so the two that kind of flew on out here, we have the child and the astral that flew out. And then the one I drew was the clouds. Okay, so straight away we do see a little bit of a divide between feminine and masculine just with those energies, because the astral is a very feminine based energy, whereas the clouds is a very masculine based energy. And the child is kind of the combination here of showing us that, you know, they are working on that inner child and finding that balance. For some of you, this journey goes all the way back to this person's childhood as well, that the way that they were raised to be very feminine or masculine, you know, and the parameters that have been set on them, you know, as they've grown, they've kind of matured into one or the other, rather than the balance of understanding that both are necessary here. So there definitely is a bit of an astral journey going on here, where this person is probably, you know, if you are in contact with this person, they are probably talking about having a lot of weird dreams, or you know, feeling like they're astral traveling and those sorts of things, or having a lot of dreams or memories related to their childhood, definitely coming up a lot for this person. I do feel here with that astral that they are, it's because the astral really does start to open up that third eye and allow us to start to see things a little bit differently. So it's definitely kind of like your person, they're at that stage of their journey where they're actually, you know, really assessing their childhood and their inner child wounds, in order to, you know, it's quite interesting because it's in order to find that balance of seeing those, you know, through the spiritual astral lens, but also to see those logically and rationally, and sort of have this understanding as to, oh, well, you know, being raised like this leads to this behavior, you know. So they're kind of trying to put that scientific reasoning spin on it all as well, but they are actually doing a lot of, you know, inner child soul work here as well. So in order to try to find that balance, so they are sort of moving in the right direction. Definitely moving in the right direction here. We do just see that, you know, while someone is in that inner child kind of phase, it can be very hard for people around them. All right, because, you know, sometimes we do find ourselves revert back to the inner child wound ways of being, before that we can actually, you know, assess those and change those. So I do find quite often when someone's heavy in the inner child stuff, that it can be a very kind of rough time for them as well, you know, but for anyone around them. So it's definitely a time where they need support and they need fun. All right, fun and playful energy is going to be key for this person right now to you know, be able to express that inner child in a positive way is actually a really strong thing for this part of the journey, where, you know, that this person actually needs to, you know, find that part of that inner child is, you know, having fun and seeing the world with innocent eyes, and looking out for adventures and those sorts of things. So there's definitely ways that we can help this person through this part of the journey. But, you know, their eyes are slowly starting to open to, you know, the person that they have become from the person that they, you know, were. If that makes sense, they're definitely looking at the difference now between, you know, what was sort of nature versus nurture within them. It's definitely that part of the journey for them at the moment, Scorpio. All right, so that's what we're seeing for your person. And, you know, once this person does sort of do this, inner balance is a lot easier to maintain. All right, so you will find this person slowly is making progress in the right direction here, definitely. All right, Scorpio. So that's what we see for you. You're more than welcome to cross-watch placements. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius, your person's healing journey. Sagittarius, what does Sagittarius need to know in regard to your person's healing journey? Okay, Sagittarius. Universal harmony coming through for your person here. When you find harmony within, the universe resonates with you, creating miraculous calm and peace, balance, peace, and resonance. All right, so this person's actually doing quite well with their inner journey at the minute. all right, because they are very in sync with themselves, very in sync with the universe right now. This person may be saying things like, oh, look at all these random coincidences, you know, all these synchronicities. They're maybe paying attention or noticing a lot of synchronicities around them in their life. They're also noticing a lot of patterns, and that's where things are really coming up for this person. We have the ring coming through first. Sagittarius, your person's healing journey. So yeah, they're definitely sort of starting to pay attention to the patterns and cycles that they have kind of been in or stuck in their life. And they are sort of a little bit more conscious of wanting to break those cycles. But, you know, with that cycle energy, we do see that rhythm with the universe coming back through again. So they're definitely exactly where they need to be right now when it comes to their healing journey. They are sort of getting more in sync with themselves, with the universe, you know, all those sorts of things. We do have the bear and the fox coming through here. This person seems to currently, there is still a fair bit of work that they're doing. All right, with the bear and the fox both coming through here, this person is learning how to stand up for themselves. They're learning how to put themselves first. All right, so this person may have, you know, these patterns and cycles might be showing this person, you know, where they have allowed themselves to, you know, be taken advantage of in the past, or where they haven't stood up for themselves and been confident in themselves. So there's a lot of different things that this person seems to be trying to undertake when it comes to their healing journey. But they are in sync with that. They are, you know, moving forwards, but they're at that point where they're really looking at the patterns that they've created within their life and within their self. And I am picking up this energy here, Sagittarius, that you may actually be a bigger part of that than you are aware, which it may actually come across a bit harsh to you in the near future, because this person may need to stand up to you in some kind of a way. But this person, like, maybe that's why you need to hear this, because maybe this person needs to do that. And stand up for you, stand up for you. Oh, that's interesting that came out. Stand up for you, or, you know, against you even in the near future, because it's about, they're not playing games anymore. All right, they're needing to set healthy boundaries for themselves. All right, and anywhere where they haven't got those healthy boundaries set up, you know, they are kind of defending the perimeter a little bit at the moment. So, and when we're learning these things, sometimes it's a bit hit and miss, and sometimes it's hard for us to, you know, fine tune that and break certain patterns and cycles. So this person is just sort of really working out what their boundaries even are. And so it may just, I'm just sort of getting, for you personally, Sagittarius, it may sort of, there might be a few little clashes where it's actually, if you understand that it's actually got to do with this person trying to stand up for themselves and trying to create healthy boundaries for themselves, that it may actually really help the situation. All right, because healthy boundaries are, you know, not just for this person, but they're for everyone that they're dealing with as well, because then they are more aware of when they're crossing your boundaries as well. All right, so it's definitely one of those things, but it may just be a little bit jarring in the near future. You may sort of feel like this person is acting out a little bit selfish. You know, they may be having moments of being a little bit selfish, you know, or may seem a little bit immature, but it's because they're kind of having to go back to basics and learn from scratch how to set up healthy boundaries. And so, you know, you kind of got to think of it in the way of, you know, what happens when a child is learning about boundaries and setting up their boundaries. Sometimes it is a little bit immature, like, don't touch me, don't touch me. You know, when a child first learns about, this is the example I'm being given here, is when a child first learns about consent and the fact that nobody is allowed to touch their body unless they give consent. They very much you'll go, give mum a hug, and they'll go, no, don't touch me. I don't want you to touch me. You can't touch me. And I feel like this person is just having moments of that in the near future, where it's not actually about you and you trying to touch them or give them a hug or anything like that. It's about them learning that it's safe for them to have that boundary when they need to. So it's about, you know, learning that yes, I do have consent over, like, I do have bodily consent. For some reason, the bodily consent seems significant for this person. That might be a pattern they're noticing, that, they've allowed people to take advantage of them, or push their bodily consent. That may be, obviously we do know quite a lot of people have had trauma when it comes to those sorts of things. So respecting this person's boundaries is very, very important in the near future. They're not being selfish. They're learning how to survive. They're learning how to stand up for themselves. All right. They're learning how to know and trust that it's okay for them to do that. All right. So that seems significant for this person, Sagittarius. So that's what we're seeing for you. You're more than welcome to cross-watch as well if you desire. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Capricorns. Okay, Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, looking at your person's healing journey. Capricorn, your person's healing journey. Path of Miracles. Ooh, Capricorn. I'm straight away picking up, Capricorn, that you're going to kind of have this moment of, no, that's too good to be true. That's not right. That's impossible when it comes to this person's healing journey. You're not going to believe me. The universe is laying out a path of miracles for you. Trust it and follow it. Magical encounters, spiritual journey, inner awakening. They are walking the path, Capricorn. And straight away, I feel like this person coming to you. Capricorn, please help me understand this. Capricorn, I have to tell you about this crazy thing that happened. Capricorn, have you ever had this happen? Capricorn, have you ever heard of this? Capricorn, I think I saw a ghost. Capricorn, I think, something about, because I'm just straight away, I feel like they know you are further down this path, Capricorn. You're already, and straight away I'm picking up your energy strongly here, Capricorn. You're at a point at the moment where you're paused, waiting for them to catch the F up. But you're still in disbelief that they're even moving, because maybe it's been a long time waiting on this person already. Maybe it's a long time coming. Maybe there's something about this person that you just thought that they were never going to do it. They're starting to do it, Capricorn. They're starting to move. Yes, there's still a very windy path, but they know they need to catch up. And there is some crazy-ish going on in their life, proving to them that they need to start moving. You know what's really interesting too is I feel like this person, the universe is slamming them right now. Slamming them. And it's like, because you in your journey, Capricorn, it's been a slog, right? One step by one step by one step by one step. This person's journey right now, the universe is saying, you got to catch up. You need to take 10 steps today. Capricorn, for you, it's been a, slow, even process. For this person, it's fits and starts. It's like the universe, like, bang, here's something that's going to make you learn 10 steps in one day. Then you can have a break. Then 10 steps in one day. Instead of having to just do one step, this person's having to do jumps to try to catch up to you, Capricorn. And I think that's why you were like, you're so disbelieving of this, because you knew how far behind they were. Capricorn, your person's healing journey. What does Capricorn need to know about their person's healing journey, please? And it feels, I am a Capricorn, and that's why I did need to mention in the intro, taking accountability. Feels important to ask that of this person too. They're trying. It's rough going. It's not an easy journey for them. Not going to lie. We have the astral card coming through first. So they're definitely, like that Path of Miracles card said, laying out a path of miracles, spiritual encounters, spiritual journey, inner awakening. There it is, that inner awakening. Universe going, nope, I'm going to force your third eye open now because you need it. This person's probably having crazy dreams right now. I feel like they're probably dreaming about you a lot, Capricorn. They may even have a look at that image, Capricorn, that winding road. I actually feel like for some of you, your person is having that imagery in their dreams where they're walking down roads and they see you ahead, Capricorn, or they see you walking away from them and they know they need to catch up. I feel like it's quite literal for this person. They're getting some quite literal signs like that in their dreams and even day visions and stuff coming through here. Astral traveling, definitely. You've probably been dreaming about this person a lot too, Capricorn, because I feel like there's astral connection between the two of you. It'd be very interesting for you, Capricorn, to cross-watch their placement back to yours and see what's coming through on that end as well. I'm just picking up that you might just be in a phase of just stillness and waiting for them to catch up, to be honest. They're overcoming some shit. We have the void and the goat showing us what this person's overcoming here. Addictions, severe mental issues, blackness, black hole energy. For some of you, this person, they know that if they step off that path, they're going straight back into that black hole and they're getting sucked straight back into it. So they need to catch up to you so that they can't get sucked back in, because they've been there before. A lot of you, Capricorn, have already been there as well, especially with your card coming through. You don't realize how important you are in this person's journey. You're like the guiding light. This heavily talks about obsession and addiction and those sorts of things too. Compulsion and those sorts of things. I feel like for a lot of you, this person has addiction issues or has had addiction issues, and they have been at the bottom of the bottom. They've been at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. I do feel as though for a lot of you, this is with the void here. It's doing things to the total bottom of the thing. You know what I mean? So if they're in an addiction, they get to the absolute, they get absolutely black hole sucked into that, down to the very, very lowest of the low of that addiction. And, if, for some of you, I'm picking up homeless. For some of you here, they might be having homelessness issues at the moment. This person, they've been there. They're fighting hell to try to move forward out of that. They've been there and they don't want to go back here. They are rising above it, and they're going to be forced to rise above it quickly, because they're at the very, very, or I don't know that they're right currently at the very, very bottom. I feel like it's just showing us that this is something that they're still, it's still trying to suck them back. It's very constantly trying to suck them back, kind of thing, suck them back into their obsessive behaviors, impulsive behaviors, addictive behaviors, rebellious behaviors. This person has probably been so butted heads with you over spiritual stuff, and they know that you're right, Capricorn, because it was the black hole. It was the black hole, not necessarily you or them. It was the black hole. I'm getting strong mental stuff here too, all right? Like, to the point of this person may have seriously tried to harm themselves or something, end it all kind of thing, to that severity. All right, I'm getting some severe mental issues coming through here for for some of these people. But a lot of it, it's related to they think they've got to fight everything. You know, that goat is so rebellious. They've got to fight everything. They've got to butt heads with everything. So every time anything good is in their life, they fight it too. Because sometimes in that void, you get so used to it. You get so comfortable in thinking that everything is crap. It gets, I don't trust anything, not even the good stuff. So I'll just fight the good stuff. And I feel like for a lot of you Capricorn, they've done that with you too. They've fought you so much, even though they know, but the universe is pushing the F out of them right now because they need to catch up. I just want to grab one more for you Capricorn here, as to accountability and are they actually going to catch up? City. They're doing the work. They're racing around. They're doing it. They're racing up that hill. You know, running up that hill, running up that mountain. Capricorn. They're trying to catch up. They are doing the work. All right. It's they're busy. Got nothing. They got nothing else to do other than all that work right now because the universe is absolutely slamming them. Wait until you hear about it, Capricorn. It's gonna have some like crazy-ish. They're gonna Capricorn. They're gonna tell you stuff too, like about you. That I saw you in a dream, Capricorn, and you said this to me. Capricorn, I kept hearing your voice when you weren't there. The universe is using you as a guide for this person. If Capricorn has done it, how come you can't? I feel like I feel like Capricorn, you've been exactly where this person has been. You and this person may have very, very similar stories, have been through similar traumas, those sorts of things. There's a strong energy here that you and this person are very linked, like to the point where there's just so many coincidences about like you've been through this, they've been through this. You've got, you know, just so many similarities, I think, for you and this person, where similar things have happened for both of you. And you've been there. You've been wherever they have been, you've probably been there, or you've known that how easily you could be there. You understand it on a level that not many other people would understand this person. So you really are the blueprint for this person, whether you realize that or not. You're actually the blueprint of this is, you have to do what Capricorn's done. Capricorn is your example of doing the work. All right. So kudos to you, Capricorn. But it'd be very interesting to cross-watch your placement as well, like, you know, their placement, and cross-watch to see what's coming through for you. That would be very interesting for you as well, I think, Capricorn. Enlightening. But that's what we see there for you. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We will move on over to Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, your person's healing journey. Looking at Aquarius, your person's healing journey. All right. Inner balance. Scorpio had this same card as well. Some of you might be have strong Scorpio placements as well. Inner balance is the cornerstone of soul growth. Find it and fear nothing. Self-harmony, peaceful heart, inner, outer unity. Something about fear nothing. This person is overcoming fear of some sort. Let's have a look into this. It's you know, every time I grab a card, there's always one specific word or, you know, one specific you know, intuitive thing that sort of slams into me as I read the cards. You know, and for you, it's the fear, overcoming fear for this person. Aquarius, your person's healing journey. Your person's healing journey for Aquarius's person, please. They are doing the work. There does seem to be fear. We have the tree coming through first. So they are doing the work. They are focused on their healing. They are having the tree there is that they are focused on this journey. All right. Like as I said in the intro, not everyone in the world wants to do the work. Not everyone in the world is able to do the work. Not everyone in the world understands that self-evolvement is part of our soul's experience here on earth. And so therefore they stay happy with the version of themselves that they decide that they are. Your person is not one of those people. Your person is, like I have given everyone watching today, I'm giving you that liberty of understanding that you are somebody who is invested in doing your self-work, your inner work, your shadow work, healing yourself, moving forwards within your soul rather than being stuck here on earth in what you have allowed yourself to stay stuck in. This person is definitely doing the work. They're focusing on their own healing and their own growth. They want to grow. They want to be a better person, a better soul. They are doing the right thing here. They are definitely doing the work. I feel like they're getting close to where you think that they need to be. But of course, as with everybody, once we start this journey, it kind of never ends. It's an ongoing thing, an ongoing process, but they're definitely invested in the journey, which I feel like for some of you, that's all you want to know is that are they actually invested in making changes for themselves? And yes, they are. All right, they are healing, they are growing as a person, they are maturing. All right, we do also see here the goat and the clouds. So there's something about the way that this person thinks. All right, though, they rebel. Like right now, they're trying to learn how to rebel against their own thoughts, and that's the hardest thing that they're doing right now for themselves is to try to rebel against their own ways of thinking, their own thought patterns. So maybe there's someone that overthinks and has anxiety issues, and they're trying to overcome that because they are trying to overcome a fear here, and it's kind of the fear of the way that they think. The way that they think is creating fear within them, and they're trying to overcome that. They're trying to question themselves on the ways that they think. So this person may have in the past had very limited thinking on certain things, and they're now trying to rebel against that and develop the ways in which they're thinking of certain things. I'm getting, for some of you here, it's got specifically to do with prejudice and being very prejudiced against people, things, types of behavior, whatever it is. This person may be overcoming prejudice in some way, shape, or form within their own way of thinking. All right, because it is sort of telling me specifically prejudice for quite a lot of the collective here, that this person is maybe they've always had this belief that that type of person equals this, and they're now trying to overcome that and give people an opportunity to prove themselves as individuals rather than stereotypes. So it's definitely something about that coming through. Like this may be somebody who was raised in a certain religion or a certain prejudice type belief system. All right. So, obviously the easiest example is always going to be, the obvious, one of the biggest issues when it comes to prejudice is always racism, right? So that this may be something that this person is overcoming. I'm also picking up on LGBT prejudice as well, that they may have, been raised to believe that that is, wrong, and they're overcoming that as well. So it's got to do with the ways that they think about things, and also the way in which they think about themselves. All right, so this person may have, they may also be overcoming a lot of self-devaluating talk. All right, they may have very low self-worth, and they're trying to overcome and rebel against the ways in which they think badly about themselves as well. All right, so there may be somebody, I'm getting in that specific example, it is telling me weight issues very strongly, that this person is the sort of person that their whole life they've talked to themselves horribly about their body size or their body image, and they're really trying to overcome that right now. There's definitely some sort of fear attached to it that the lack of worth is definitely coming through there when it comes to these issues for them, that they feel that there's just definitely a lot of low self-worth when it comes to, and that's part of that fear, is that they're not good enough for this XYZ, so they are really trying to overcome that. But they are definitely, to see the tree coming through, it's actually, one of the best indicators that this person is definitely invested and they will stay invested. All right, so I really actually like that in that sense, because they're going to try, and that's the best thing we can ask for in a lot of cases, right? So that's what we're seeing for you, Aquarius. You are more than welcome to cross-watch other placements. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Pisces. Okay, moving on to Pisces. Pisces, okay, Pisces, your person's healing journey. Pisces, your person's healing journey. Wanting to shuffle weirdly, Pisces. What's going on? Your person's healing journey for Pisces, please. Path of Miracles. Okay, so Capricorn actually had this same card. Let's have a look at what it's talking about for you, Pisces. It does say the universe is laying out a path of miracles for you. Trust and follow it. Magical encounters, spiritual journey, inner awakening. So your person feels like they're kind of, it's a fresh awakening, I feel, for your person here, Pisces. That they are opening up to the idea that they need to grow and heal. This seems like it's relatively new for this person, that I am picking up that something has happened that has instigated this. Something has kind of opened up their eyes to the fact that they want to make changes within themselves, and that they want to expand the version of themselves that they are. So it does feel like they're relatively, at the beginning of the journey kind of thing. So let's have a bit of a deeper look here, Pisces. Pisces, your person's healing journey. What does Pisces need to know about your person's healing journey, please? So there's definitely something that has happened in their greater world, because we have the garden coming through first. So it's like they've met someone. It kind of feels like they've recently met someone that has made that, like, that has opened them up to the idea of growth and healing within themselves. That it's like, I'm getting like a secret garden reference here, where it's like, a lot of people probably haven't seen the movie or read the book, The Secret Garden, but it's basically this girl moves to this house, and there's a secret garden at this house where, she's wandering the yard one day and she finds this secret doorway. But it's like something, so I'm just getting the reference here of, like in the movie, in the book, she moves to this house. Like there's other things going on, obviously, in the story, but she moves to this place all of a sudden. Excuse my bird in the background, guys. He can get quite noisy at times. He's brand new, so he's still settling in. But right at the beginning of the movie, you know, she moves to this house, so it feels like something has this person has something has changed, you know, because when you move house, that's a big life change, right? So there's like a big life change, and then this person, from having that change, they're starting to discover other secret parts of themselves that were locked before now, and so it's like they're unlocking a part of themselves. This big life change has unlocked something within them, that has been secret up until now, and they're now having to, you know, explore this part of themselves, and it's really stirred something up within them. We do have the stork coming through here. So for some of you, they've met someone, and that has sort of instigated this in some way. There is some significant life change that has instigated this all being stirred up within this person. It's kind of giving them a fresh perspective on something within themselves, or a new idea of how to approach life, basically. It's kind of like they were approaching life one way, and now all of a sudden, after, you know, this life change or meeting somebody in their life, or someone saying something that sort of instigates this, it's made them realize that, well, hang on, there's other ways to look at life. There's other ways to do life. There's, you know, a fresh idea on how I can approach life rather than how I've always done it. So it's really stirred something. It's kind of like this birth within them, like, because the stalk is a gestation period, all right, where things slowly build up and we get that, you know, we start to generate new ideas and new perspectives that eventually birth us out into the world brand new. So that's kind of where they're at the moment. They're building up to this idea of what happiness actually is for them. We have the sun, all right, so it's kind of like, you know, they've lived their whole life in the dark, and all of a sudden they've realized that, oh, the sun exists. I can actually go out and see the sun. Like, and so then now they're like, well, I want to see the sun. And so they're, you know, changing things slowly around their life in order to, you know, find what truly makes them happy, and what, you know, what truly heats them up, and what, you know, what actually they're aiming towards. So it's like, I'm getting a sense of like fresh, very fresh, new day kind of energy, that each day is kind of like a chance for this person to understand just a little bit more. But they do seem to be like in the idea phase of, well, this is possible, and that this is, you know, it's possible to seek more happiness in my life, and to live life in different ways. And so they're really starting to just open up to this, right? So they're probably seeing a lot of, you know, signs in their life that are pointing them in this direction as well, that are supporting the theory, that they do need to, you know, evolve within themselves. But I feel like this is a fresh idea for this person, that they need to evolve. This is probably someone who's been very sort of, you know, comfortable in their life, and comfortable in whatever that meant for them, comfortable in who they were. But now they're realizing that, hang on, I could actually, you know, they're having there's a lot of personal epiphanies happening for this person, where they're realizing, oh, I didn't think I needed healing in that area, but now I'm realizing I do, you know. So it's kind of very fresh, very new, very the start of the journey for this person. But it's always a good sign, right, to know that at least they've started the journey. All right, you can't complete that path if you don't take a step onto it to begin with. But there's a lot of, you know, fresh energy here, very brand new kind of energy, that they're finally starting to see, you know, greater purpose in themselves, when it comes to self-advancement and self-growth and healing. So, you know, they are moving in the right direction. It's just, it's all new to them. It's very new to this person. Okay, Pisces, so that's what we're seeing for you. You are more than welcome to, you know, cross-watch other placements as well. Definitely subscribe to the channel. We will move on over to our Aries. Okay, Aries. Aries, looking at your person's healing journey. Aries, your person's healing journey, please. Seek the answers. This card does say, all answers lie within you. Ask bravely, listen patiently, and the truth will emerge. Exploration, inner wisdom, truth discovery. This person is kind of waiting, in a sense. It's kind of like a waiting to understand. But the answers already lie within them. So it's like they already know, but they're just sort of waiting to see, sort of thing. Because I'm getting that listen, ask bravely, listen patiently, and the truth will emerge. For some of you, this person, your person hasn't been asking the right questions, and they're waiting for answers that maybe won't come because they haven't asked the right questions. I am getting like a patient waiting kind of energy from this person. They're wanting answers and they're wanting to know more, but I don't know, it's weird because it actually kind of feels like, even though it says seek the answers, it feels like there's not necessarily any current action that this person can take. It's kind of like they're waiting on a delivery, when you're waiting on a delivery to arrive and, there's nothing that you can do to sort of speed it up. You can seek answers, but you can open up your apps and check the timing schedule, or you can check the delivery, the delivery, is it en route yet, kind of thing. There is certain things you can do but you can't actually speed it up. You can't make it happen any faster than it will. If anything, trying to speed it up can actually delay it even more. All right, because if you're waiting for Uber Eats or whatever, right? If you start messaging the driver and saying, "Where's my order? Where's my order?" Sometimes you're going to get a driver going, "I'm just going to take an extra 5 minutes because they're pissing me off." So this person is waiting for something. They're kind of at an impasse. It feels like an impasse. They're waiting for something. I'm not sure exactly what we're waiting for here. Let's have a look with the lenormand. Aries. Aries, your person's healing journey. Aries, your person's healing journey. Interesting, because we see the clover and the cross coming through first. This is kind of like they're investing in fate. They're trying to have faith in fate and the destiny and taking a chance that everything will happen exactly how it's supposed to happen. I did mention in the intro, talking about accountability. I feel like this person has actually taken more accountability. Like they've taken a lot of responsibility onto their own shoulders here. And it's like they've tried to, maybe this is why they're at a standstill right now, Aries, because it's like they've kind of done too much already. They're like taken too much responsibility on board already. And at a certain point, you can only grow so far without all the people around you doing their part. It's kind of like This person is trying to carry the weight of everyone around them and do the work for everyone around them as well. Do the work for you, Aries. But that's why they're at a standstill right now, because they know that they can't do that anymore. They know that they have to stop and wait and allow other people to take responsibility and accountability for themselves as well. So interesting. Because they seem to know. This person does seem to have a very strong soul energy with the cross coming out here. There's a strong, the universe is taking care of this for this person right now. That's why they're just sort of sitting back and waiting for the answers. They're waiting patiently for the universe to answer and show them if they need to do anything else, if they need to, what they need to do. This person is probably also asking for help from the universe in order, like in regard to like them carrying so many burdens upon themselves, and why they internalize everyone else's as their responsibility. So this kind of does feel like a sort of person who is very like maybe controlling or takes responsibility for everyone around them rather than just themselves. They're a carer, a nurturer type person. I do apologise for my bird making a lot of noise in the background. He's been a bit noisy this afternoon. He's brand new, so he's still getting comfortable, at my place. But he is very loud, so I'm sure that you guys probably will hear him in the background of videos here and there. We do also see the ruins, which is very interesting. And it's not telling me very much, to be honest. Sorry, as soon as I said that, it starts talking. It's like, you know how like when you see like, because it's kind of showing me like ancient Egypt, right? You know, all the ancient Egypt, not Egypt. I'm talking about the Roman sort of Greek stuff here. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know why I said Egyptian. Could be Egyptian as well, for as an example for some of you here. But the ones that I'm being shown is like the Greek with the big pillars and stuff. What's it called? The Colosseum. And it's like these ancient structures that, if left to their own devices, you see, they're in ruins, right? Or they're in ruins, and some of the pillars are falling apart, and some of the marble is cracked and whatnot. But life finds a way, and you start to see, like fresh green shoots coming up through the cracks in the marble, and eventually, if they were untouched for 100 years, nature would overtake them, and like then you see, some of the ancient structures that have been overtaken by jungles and hidden in jungles and things like that, because even though they were once a thriving place, the jungle has now overtaken it, kind of thing. I'm being shown that kind of energy here, where it's that seems to be the patience factor. This person seems to know that that's why they need to invest in just trusting and having faith that the universe will do its part, that other people will do their part, that you will do your part, because they know that if they try to touch the ruins too much, that they'll crumble. Whereas if they just patiently wait it out, they will be overtaken and refilled with brand new life. I feel like I need to get a card here for extra clarity. Aries, your person's healing journey. Can I just get extra clarity on that ruins, please? Aries, your person's healing journey. Accountability. Yes, they're taking accountability. We have the child coming through there as well. So it's like they're regrowing the ruin of themselves a little bit here too, Aries. That something was broken and shattered within them as a child. There's a foundational core issue here that I'm picking up things like abandonment issues, especially for this person, feeling abandoned, because as a child they were neglected or abandoned in some way, and so it created this child wound, this inner child wound for this person, and they know that it's like they've done all the work that they can do. They just now need to sort of stop and wait for all the cracks to fill with new life. They've done all the work that they can do. They've done as much as they can do. Now it just needs time to rebuild and to re-strengthen and whatnot. I feel like this person has done a lot of work and they are taking accountability. If anything, they're taking more than their own share of accountability, which once again is connected to that childhood wound, because this one's hitting a little bit close to home. I have an Aries moon, so I'm kind of not surprised, but it's like, when a child is emotionally neglected, yes, they have abandonment issues, but they also become caretakers. It's like kids that were given a lot of parentification, that they had to be the parent in a family, and so they feel the responsibility for all other people on their head. And this is coming from my own personal life. It's asking me to share it with you, Aries, because this may be very relevant to your person as well. That the parentification issue, where, when you raise your siblings or significantly help raise your siblings, and that is something that's thrust upon you, especially if you're like me and you're an eldest child, that there's a certain amount of caregiving that you have to give, because the parent is not doing that. Um, it does create this thing within you that you then have to overcome as an adult, of feeling as though you have to be everybody's caretaker, that you have to take care of everybody around you's emotions, and you have to look after everybody. You kind of, and then, for quite, I know not for me personally, but for quite a lot of other people that have gone through this, they become caretakers for their own parents, and they have to treat their own parents as though they were their own children, kind of thing. And that's quite a common part of parentification. I feel like that might be relevant for some of you here as well, that you maybe notice that this person is a caretaker, and they care for people in that kind of a way, and that's actually something that is actually coming from a childhood wound within this person, and it's something that they are trying to work through, but that it's going to still take a little bit of time here. It's kind of this thing of like, they but I'm also picking up abandonment issues here too for this person, but they're just at a stillness point where they need to just, they know, they're very connected as well, Aries, so they do seem to know intuitively that they just need to pause and allow the healing to catch up with them a little bit, because they're kind of just in this midpoint where they're waiting for they've been doing a lot of work, and they're just waiting for it all to be, fully healed before they can start doing more work on themselves, if that kind of makes sense, Aries. But that's what we're seeing for you. You're more than welcome to cross-watch placements as well. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Taurus. Okay, Taurus. Taurus, your person's healing journey. Taurus, your person's healing journey, please. Shift in perspective. View life from a higher perspective to discover hidden harmony and meaning. Spiritual elevation, expansive vision, and consciousness expansion. So this person's definitely at a learning phase. But they're still not quite seeing things from a higher perspective. They're still, it's kind of like they're at the it's kind of like they're at the threshold, to be honest, Taurus, that, that they are about to start understanding that they need to see things from different perspective, from a, a more objective, higher perspective. But right now they're seeming to like still be very one-minded in their perspective, as in only able to see things from their own perspective. Rather than to empathize, like, grow empathy and see things from other people's perspective or from a more objective perspective. They're very singular in their, something about that singular versus connected as well, because the new perspective they'll be shifting into is a more connected perspective where they're seeing things from, a more global perspective or an interconnectedness perspective of, even if that's just on a small scale of like, okay, well, my group of friends perspectives, my family perspectives, from the perspective of my family rather than the perspective of myself. There is some sort of interconnectedness, but there is also, the greater perspective with that as well. Like, my community perspective is, my country's perspective is, there's like a shift in that sort of perspective, going from an individual to a collective. But it feels like they're right on the threshold of this. They're about to sort of cross into this and a deeper understanding here when it comes to the way that they look at things and understand things, and the way that, empathy feels important here too. Having empathy for other people's perspectives. Taurus, your person's healing journey. Taurus, your person's healing journey, please. So we do see the lily coming through first. So there's a lot of, there's definitely that shift in perspective coming through with that lily as well. It's like it's an empathy, very strong empathy connection with the lily, and it's also a greater worldview in the sense of time as well. All right, because the lily is a long-term card, so it's very much like not just the perspective of, single-mindedness versus connectedness. It's also the timing, like the time frame as well. Like looking at things not just in the here and the now, but looking at things more as though, well, in my life, in the long run, rather than the here and the now. So that seems important as well. We do see your card, Taurus, the ring. So this person is definitely looking at long-term patterns and cycles in their life as well. And that's sort of helping this person move through that threshold of understanding different perspectives, because they are sort of starting to understand, your perspective. I think that seems significant here too, is that the patterns and the shifts in perspective just from having you in their life, Taurus, is really helping them, gain that interconnectedness and gain that empathy. So that's actually really cool, because it feels as though you're very interconnected here to this person's shift in perspective. It's kind of like, and so they're not realizing that just by understanding your perspective, that they're actually understanding a much greater perspective in it as well. So that's quite interesting. But they are looking at a lot of patterns and cycles in their life, especially when it comes to this bear energy. All right, so the pattern and cycle that they've created in the past, especially around things about the way that they stand up for others, the way that they stand up for themselves, the way that they're overprotective, underprotective, even aggressive in some cases here as well. Defensive, because the bear is it's like a defense mechanism, right? It's standing up for someone, it's standing up for themselves. I feel like that's slowly what this shift is bringing too, is that they're not having to just stand up for their own self anymore. They're standing up to protect you, and the pattern of that is creating this shift in perspective. They're no longer caring about just protecting themselves. They're caring about protecting you too. And then once again, it's rippling out from there, and helping them gain a little bit more understanding, and also healthy boundaries definitely coming into play here as well, because they're nurturing their connections, they're nurturing their relationships by standing up for those connections and allowing that ripple effect to take place and to gain deeper empathy. All right. It's definitely a shift in empathy, definitely coming through for this person as well. And it's all sort of starting with you. And then there's that ripple effect coming through here. So there might be a specific thing happening in it feels very in here and now kind of thing. So, I would say, a couple of weeks either side of you hearing this message, there may even be a specific incident where this person needs to defend your honor or stand up for you in public, or protect you in some way, and that's actually really helping them cross this threshold here, and then the ripple effect, it just gets bigger and bigger from there. But that instigator is happening right here, right now, kind of thing, but it's a long-term shift in their perspective as well. So, this is gaining them empathy for the rest of their lives, kind of thing. That ripple effect, it continues out throughout their whole life. It's not stopping here. So it's definitely something that, there's something instigating it sort of here and now, and it's rippling out and having these huge impacts later on, as well, especially I'm getting like a conscious community level, down the track, even 10 years from now. For some of you, there is some sort of big shift in perspective when it comes to the community-based empathy, the social-based empathy, like this is definitely could be this person, taking a stand against a political thing or something like that. But it's talking about like 10 years away. But it's this ripple effect that these small changes now are actually going to have big impacts later on in this person's life. And it's all starting with having empathy and understanding of you, Taurus. It does feel very linked up to you, which is quite interesting. But that's what we're seeing for you. You're more than welcome to check other placements to cross-watch yourself, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Geminis. All right, just making sure I've got that timestamp there. Okay, Gemini, your person's healing journey. Gemini, your person's healing journey. Gemini, your person's healing journey, please. Oh, soul anchor. I was not expecting to receive this energy today, Gemini. Being that your person's already pretty solid. I don't know that your person needs to heal, which is interesting. I personally believe that everybody needs to heal and grow and advance as a soul. But I'm being told that this person, solid. Let's have a look. Anchor your soul in stability. It will provide the strength and support you need. Stability, balance, grounded foundations. Oh, that's why. Okay. Your person doesn't really need to heal right now. They don't really need to grow right now. because they need to be here for you to help you grow and heal right now. Sorry, Gemini, definitely probably not what you wanted to hear, but your healing is taking precedence over this person's, and they just need to be there for you. They need to maybe learn that might be the healing they're needing to do, is to learn how to be there for you, to learn how to help you, to learn how to be stable and dependable for you, to help others in their journeys. So it's not so much that they never have to heal and grow and advance. It's just that right here, right now, they need to learn to be stable for others. Still not what I was expecting to get in this reading today. Definitely not. Gemini, your person's healing journey, please. Gemini, your person's healing journey. I'm definitely not getting any movement from them. We're getting the coffin coming through first. And today in these readings, the coffin's talking more about stopping, standing still. Because the coffin is a transformative card. It does talk about, ending one cycle in order to, start a fresh new cycle, a death and then a rebirth. But right now, this person is just stopped. It's a stopped kind of energy. It's like they're not undertaking transformations because, that it's the ending. The ending. They're ending their healing journey right now because they need to be stable and secure for you. I do also see the whip coming through, which is, it's not, that is drama, tension, conflict. But once again, it feels like yours. Clarify the whip. Gemini, your person's healing journey, please. Why am I seeing the whip here, please? For Gemini's person's healing journey. It's kind of like they're fighting themselves on it a little bit. Because we see the ship and the heart clarifying that. They are fighting this a little bit. Because they're kind of like, but I need to keep going. I need to keep healing. I need to keep going. But I need to travel towards love. I need this journey to be one of love, not allowing this to continue. So I feel like this is why we're seeing the coffin as well, because we're trying to, transform that whip into, travel towards love, travel towards the heart. They need to be stable for you so that it's no longer a fight and you're no longer fighting, because they just want us to travel back to love, like they just want this to be a journey of love between the two of you. It's like they love you so much that they don't want to fight anymore, so they're willing to stop and be stable and just be there for you throughout whatever you need. I am picking up a bit of a warning here as well, Gemini, because it's your energy that's coming through the strongest here, in all honesty. And with that coffin energy, it is telling me that there is something significant that will be coming to an end in your life. And that's why this person, even though they want to keep moving forwards, they know that the only way they can move forwards is with love and in love for you. And that means that they actually have to just stop and be stable and steady. You know, we did see the house here, which is security. They need to be your security blanket. They need to stop. You know, the house doesn't move. It doesn't shift. Um, they need to be that for you. They need to be that anchor for you throughout this storm that you're about to go through. So I'm sorry if you don't know about that yet, Gemini, but it does feel like a significant life change, something coming to an end, a phase coming to an end, something actually coming to an end in your life. For some of you, it is even telling me that for some of you, it is even a death of somebody close to you. So I'm very sorry if that is the case. But I'm also picking up things like, you know, the ending of a job, the ending of a housing situation, you know, especially housing for a lot of you here too, actually. You know, the need to move houses may be significant for some of you in the near future. And this person doesn't want to fight. They don't want it to be a fight. They don't want to make it more trouble for you, for them to continue moving forwards. They want to approach you with love and support. And so they kind of seem to know that they need to just stop and anchor themselves right now rather than continue healing and growing right now. So it's very interesting energy. You are more than welcome to cross-watch other placements, of course. Definitely subscribe to the channel. And we will move on over to our Cancers. All right, moving on to Cancer. All right, Cancer. Once again, thank you to True North Heals who recommended this topic. I hope that you get the answers that you are looking for with this reading. All right, Cancer, your person's healing journey, Cancer. Yeah, Cancer's person, their healing journey, please. We have had a very mixed bag so far. And we have seen this for Libra, I believe, had this same card. We have In Stillness. All right. In stillness, hear the universe's whispers and uncover the answers that you seek. Serenity, deep awareness, and cosmic peace. Okay, so this is I just noticed too that we did have one in the deck that had flipped here, Cancer, while I was shuffling. So that's spiritual evolution. So let transformation be your strength. There's a conscious, like a leap in consciousness. But it's because of this stillness, okay? Because quite often this stillness energy, it's giving, you know, lack of movement, stillness. But it's kind of also this subconscious energy where, you know, sometimes we need to allow our growth to actually just catch up before it becomes a part of our reality. So even though it may seem as though this person is not currently healing or growing within their own journey, they're kind of in that catching up phase, catching up with themselves kind of phase, that it's kind of like, you know, they've learned all the lessons in theory, but they're needing those to actually catch up to their reality, so that they can start putting those things into practice. So it is a little bit of an in-between stage, and it is a very subconscious stage of healing where, you know, it may seem as though we're not actively healing or growing in any kind of way, and then all of a sudden there might be like a massive leap forwards. We do also see with this stage that sometimes we can see reverted behaviors coming through as well. All right, so because the way I like to look at spiritual advancement is kind of like the same way as looking at, you know, a child and how they learn and grow in the early development phases. And there's something that happens with children that right when they're, you know, their little brains have learned all this information, and before it actually becomes an active part of them, quite often we see this reverting behaviors, and they start acting a little bit more, you know, baby-like or childlike. And so I do see this in a lot of these is like, especially in this sort of stage, where sometimes it may look as though this person is, their behavior is actually getting worse, and they're reverting to previous behaviors that were even worse, and or more childlike type behaviors and whatever, before it actually like sinks in, and then they have that sudden leap of this spiritual developmental phase. So it's quite an interesting thing that I see in this particular phase, but quite often it does happen in this stillness, where it does sort of look like you start to question. You're looking at someone and questioning, are they actually going backwards here? Are they, they're not doing anything in their journey. They're actually going backwards and reverting to old behaviors that they know, don't work for them. But then, it is actually all of a sudden, it's kind of, and it's very quick too, these jumps forwards, because it's kind of like all of a sudden it sinks in, and they make this leap forward, and the behaviors are like, it's just like they need to kind of test themselves, just test one last time that previous immature behavior. Maybe it works this time. No, it's not going to work. So they do sort of, okay, well, that was my final, my final hurrah, and now I'm going to actually move forward. So it's a very interesting phase, but you may even want to look into developmental leaps when it comes to children, if you want to understand a little bit more about the example I'm kind of using there. Cancer, your person's healing journey. Cancer, your person's healing journey. Okay, so I can see straight away, look at that, on the bottom of the deck we have the ship. So they are still on the journey. They are still moving forward, even if it doesn't look like it. At the moment, it's because of this, we have the letter. So they're having a lot of trouble expressing themselves and communicating that this is something that they're still, invested in, or still trying to get the hang of, kind of thing. That once again, it's that it's giving me these examples of child development, especially in this one, Cancer, where it's like the child they don't have the words. They don't know how to talk yet, so they don't know how to explain why they're acting this way, or it's just happening on a subconscious kind of level at the moment for this person, and they can't actually put words to the why of why they're doing that, or what's going on for them that's making them do that. So there definitely maybe communication may be a big part of their current journey as well, and certainly sort of the things in which they're needing to grow a little bit in here is communication and expressing themselves just a little bit more openly and honestly. We do see the beetle there as well, so especially with the letter there's definitely, you can see in this beetle card we've got the hard armored surface, but then we've got these fragile wings underneath, and so generally speaking, that's what would be difficult to express, is the more vulnerable, softer, more fragile parts of ourselves. And so they may be sort of really struggling to take that leap to actually spread those little fragile wings and allow them to be seen, and there's this habit. It just wants me to say there's a habit of just having the armored shell all the time. We do see here too that there's a very strong energy with this person. We do have the rose coming through after that. So there is a very strong energy here with this person when it comes to working with others. Especially romantic relationships with the rose there, okay? There is still a hesitancy when it comes to love and working towards love and relationship type goals. That's definitely coming through, because with the rose, you do always get the thorns. So, this person, they have this kind of fear of being pricked by the thorns, and then sometimes that will hold them back from picking that rose and stopping and smelling that rose and enjoying the romantic side of life and the sensual side of life. Once again, it's coming down to a unable to express themselves kind of energy. And the part of the journey that they're in right now is learning about teamwork, how to work with others. That beetle is definitely a teamwork sort of card, and especially when it comes to being able to communicate and work together as a team. in relationships specifically, or with romance, or love in general. And there is a lot of, for some reason I'm picking up on a lot of longing coming through here as well. Like they're longing for that rose, but there is still a little bit of fear of those thorns, so they're still sort of working through some of these issues. But I would dare say that a big part of their journey right now is, learning how to communicate more effectively and how to get along better with others, how to, teamwork, basically, how to work together as a team rather than to work as two individuals. Or even they may also be having similar issues, in work life and those sorts of things as well, where they're struggling to work out exactly how to get along with other people and how to, work with other people rather than against other people. So I dare say that's probably a big part of their journey right now. But they are just kind of in that in-between at the minute, where it may look like nothing is happening, but it's all sort of happening on a very subconscious level at the minute. All right, but of course you're more than welcome to cross-watch other placements. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Leos. All right, just making sure I've got the timestamps for you here. All right, so moving on to Leo. Leo, your person's healing journey. Leo, your person's healing journey. Merge with the light. You are the light, Leo. Always represented, by the sun and by strength. And, yellow is a very strong color for Leos. Light is always associated with the Leo energy. You're the star of the show. That's front and center under the lights kind of thing. I am getting a lot of references straight away on that light energy. Merge with the divine light to experience unity and spiritual elevation. This connection brings clarity and guides you towards your true self. Spiritual unity, oneness with the light, divine illumination. So this is actually talking more so about you, Leo, and your person's healing journey is kind of very dependent on you, which, normally I would not recommend basing your whole spiritual journey upon, relying on somebody else to help you with your own, because it's, an inner journey. But what it's kind of telling me here is something that a lot of people, I've noticed not many people really talk about this, because, every time, the best example of what I'm sort of talking about, sorry, Leo. The best example of what I'm sort of talking about here is like when two people have broken up and gone their separate ways. And you quite often hear everyone will say to the person, everyone will be telling the person, oh, well, it's time to spend time on yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to know yourself and love yourself and all these sorts of things. You got to heal and grow by yourself, and be strong by yourself and all these sorts of things. What a lot of people don't actually talk about is the fact that it gets to a certain point. It's definitely not, I'm definitely like a supporter of doing your work by yourself. Yes. But there gets to a certain point where there is certain types of trauma or wounds that actually cannot be healed completely by yourself. Because especially, this is why this is a good example of relationships, okay? Because you get to a certain point where relationship trauma cannot be fully healed without putting it into practice in a relationship. It's got something to do with an actual relationship, which involves another person. So certain parts of relationship trauma, you actually do need to be in a relationship to fully heal those parts. You can do a lot of the work all by yourself, but there comes a point where the last little bits of that relationship trauma, you actually need to be in a relationship to continue that healing journey. And that's what I'm picking up on here, Leo, is something along those lines, where this is something that it's one of those parts of somebody's journey where they're actually needing to be in situations with you, Leo. This is a reading about your person. So your person right now is actually dependent on that student-teacher role between the two of you, that they're learning from you, you're learning from them. You know, as we teach, we learn. But at the moment, it does seem as though they are actually a little bit dependent on you when it comes to their healing journey. Like, and not to put any, pressure or responsibility onto you. This is definitely, it's still something that they're doing within their own self. But, it's the interactions with you that are actually enabling them to do that work. They're actually relying on external interaction. Seems to be the best way to explain that. External stimulation in order to continue that journey right now. So I'll have a look. We'll have a look with the lenormand, because I feel like it's going to tell us a little bit more about exactly what they're healing here. Give you a bit more of an idea of, why they're saying certain things or acting certain ways. Leo, your person's healing journey. Leo, your person's healing journey, please. And it may not be just you that this person is dependent on. Definitely not just you, all right? Because we do start off here with the beetle. Now, the beetle is the card of teamwork, working together as a team, a pack. I don't... What do you call it when it's a bunch of beetles? I have no idea. But, like, there's external forces coming in here, and it's this person's journey at the moment is working more to do with getting along with others and working as a team, with you and with others in their life, and working as part of a team, as working as one little cog in the machine, not being solidly by themselves all day, every day, all the time, having to do everything by themselves. They're learning how to ask for help. They're learning how to, rely on other people. It's kind of like something he wanted me to say, what has hurt this person, Leo? We do see the ruins coming through here. So, but it's coming through with the clouds, all right? Which is quite interesting, because the message I'm straight away being given here, Leo, is that this person feels as though there is something about them that is broken, or something within them is ruined, is beyond saving. It's just wreckage at this point, is what they're kind of putting out there. But even the ruins can be renewed, which is always very interesting, because you think about, all the famous ruins in the world, like the pyramids. They have a brand new life as, historical places for people to visit. They're tourist attractions. So they're not ruins, they're tourist attractions. So everything can have a brand new life. And I think that's what this person is kind of currently learning and growing through, to understand that even the parts of themselves that they think is broken can actually be used and put together again in just a different kind of a way, and mean something completely different to what they thought they meant. Okay, so it's just kind of like there's something within this person that, they feel is a fundamental flaw about themselves, or something that they fundamentally didn't learn how to do in their life. And they're now realizing that just makes them unique and able to do things in different kinds of ways, to become something different to what they thought they could. So it's, and working with others, there's definitely a social impact on this person. So I do feel as though there's a lot of energy here. It's not just you, it is other people around you as well, Leo. And it's kind of this energy of like a friendship group that is indirectly, helping this person to start thinking in new ways and to stop, beating themselves up just by being around these people, being around you. That, because they're being at one with the light, and they're joining with the light and the positivity that you possess, that you shine, that your friend group, your family group, whatever it is, around this person is actually really helping them unify themselves and understand that they can ask for help, and they're starting to, their perspective is shifting, and they're learning a lot more about themselves, and through just, once again, it feels like for a lot of these people, it's just by being around you, and it does feel like there's others around them as well that are helping here with this person. It's like to help them start to remove their confusion and help them understand that, the way that they once thought is not the only way to think. So it's a very interesting message I'm getting here, Leo. But I do feel as though, with the clouds there, it's definitely like a, just something in this person that previously had been covered and shielded. And now it's like the clouds parting and they're seeing the sun again, which, the light, which is you and these others, and learning how to, get along with others, and learning that maybe I'm not as broken as I thought I was. Maybe I can rebuild in a new kind of way. So it's actually very inspiring. It's kind of like that stage where we're just starting to change our thoughts. So their journey is kind of relatively new here. So it may be a bit of a process yet to go before we see any clear growth and advancement in their actions and behaviors. But we're definitely seeing that they're on that path. All right. So that's what we've got for you there, Leo. You're more than welcome to cross-watch other placements, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Virgos. Okay, Virgo, last but not least today. All right, Virgo, we're looking at your person's healing journey. Virgo, your person's healing journey. Astral compass. This is a very interesting energy. The stars form a celestial compass that guides you. Follow its light to navigate your soul's journey with clarity. Cosmic direction, starry guidance, true north. Virgo, your person, Virgo. They're actually, I'm hearing quite elevated already, whether you are aware of that or not. They are actually quite elevated already. It's kind of interesting because I do feel like here, Virgo, that there's something very interesting here, because this astral compass is made up of stars. All right. And we can only see the stars shine in the darkness. But there's something here making me want to question, have you truly seen these stars shine? Seeing the stars shine at twilight or during the daytime is totally different to seeing them shining in the dark of the night. This person is actually further along their journey than you maybe have given them credit for. There is still some, you know, as always, there's always more ways in which we can grow and advance our soul. But this person is quite, I don't know, it's wanting me to say certain phrases. This person is quite in tune with the rhythm of the universe. So that's the specific phrase it was asking me to say. The problem for this person is that they're so in tune with the rhythm of the universe that it's kind of hard for this person to bring themselves down to reality and find their own tune in amongst the universe's song. Does this make sense, Virgo? They struggle to identify themselves and their own journey. That's what it's talking about with the, you know, the true north and their soul's journey with clarity, that they're struggling to see their individual journey. This person's so connected to the universe. I feel like this is somebody too, you know, with that astral compass, that maybe this person has spent a lot of time helping guide others. And so it's kind of this, because I'm kind of being given this energy of like this person that's so used to, you know, this is teaching others how to do this and how to, you know, follow their soul's journeys, but they forget to come back to themselves and know what their own journey entails. It's like something I talk about actually, with my spiritual experience quite a lot of the time is I find it really hard sometimes to be in reality. I'm so connected a lot of the time that sometimes it's really hard for me to just be in reality. And sometimes I'll go off on mad tangents because I'm dealing with something that other people just don't understand sometimes. And so I'm trying to talk to people sometimes and I'm talking about this higher level stuff that they, and I forget to sort of bring it back to basics, you know, because that's kind of what it is. Sometimes it's like, sometimes you forget to bring it back, ground yourself and just be like, what do you do for work? You know, how's your day been? And you forget about and I'm guilty of this, heavily guilty of this. I quite often forget about reality, and I'm so, you know, a lot of and this is, it's been a bad thing for me at times, because I'm just so connected to energy a lot of the time that I'll be living in a connection with somebody as though I've already known them for 5 years when I've really only just met them. And so the way in which I'm interacting with this person, they're standing there going like, holy wow, this chick doesn't even know me. And she's acting like we're besties. And I'm like, it's because I'm already, you know, 5 years ahead on the timeline when it comes to my connection with this person. Whereas they're like, hang on, hold up, I don't even know you, calm down. So I kind of get where your person is at here, Virgo, because they are, in some way, they are just so beyond that I feel like they really struggle sometimes to remember the here and the now, and you know, so I feel like for a lot of you, your person here, they may actually be very, very connected here to the universe, and the universe is the rhythm of the universe, right, is what it wants to say. But let's have a look here with the lenormand. Virgo, I don't know what it is about that card, but it's making me float away. So I'm sorry. I'm just going to try to come back to your reading and grab your cards here, Virgo. Virgo, your person's healing journey. Virgo's person, their healing journey, please. Pretty much everything I've just said, Virgo. Look, we have the star there, you know, look at that. This person is guided by the stars. They're 10 million light years away. Like, they're 10 million light years away. They're not right here, right now. They're 10 million light years away. They're really struggling to get here in reality. Here's the garden as well. So I think that the more that you understand this about this person, the more it will actually really help you to understand their journey. I'm picking up here with this person, this garden energy. They may come across as, you know, a very sociable person, you know, very willing to, you know, very compromising, willing to meet people halfway, very meeting people on their level, you know, very out and about social kind of energy here. Public, with the star and the garden both coming through, this person may actually be in the public eye in some way. You know, they're quite literally the star of the show. They may have strong Leo placements, if that's the case as well, or Aquarius here as well. But they're just moving forward. They're moving forward. They're moving forward. We see the rider here as well. This person is moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. There's no stopping this person when it comes to their spiritual journey, their soul journey, their self-advancement. They seem to be somebody who is just moving forward, moving forward. There's no going backwards for this person. I dare say too, with this sort of energy, I do feel as though these generally speaking, are people that have already been doing this for a long time. So quite often they've come through a lot. I'm still getting this energy that there's a lot about this person that you don't see. Once again, because we do have that clarified with the star again as well, that, like I said, the star only shines in the dark. You can't see that star shine as brightly in the daytime. So there's something here about, you know, maybe you just need to learn more about this person. Maybe you need to meet them in the middle, because, you know, this person, they're going to leave without you. If you're not doing your work too, they're going to leave you in the dust, Virgo, because they're moving forwards and they're already quite highly elevated. Virgo, I would be very interested for you to cross watch. All right, so whatever this person's star sign is, to maybe watch that and see what's reflected upon you, because, you know, this person is saying, you know, keep up, they're off into the sunset kind of thing. They're willing to meet you in the middle if you can see them, but there's not much waiting that will happen here with this person. They're off. They're going to keep on rising and rising and rising. Honestly, Virgo, your person, out of all the signs we've read today, your person is not only the furthest along in their healing journey, but they're the most adamantly continuing that healing journey. So, you know, personally, high praises to your person. You may not feel that way, that, you know, it's not going to resonate for every single person. But like I said, that may be why it's intriguing to cross-watch the other placement here, because that might give you a little bit more of an indication as to if this is your person specifically or not. And sometimes there's just something here too about sometimes the, you know, the most highly elevated, you might never know that from the surface of them. All right, and I can honestly say that with some of the people that I've met in my life, is that some of the most highly, I suppose, evolved souls that I have come across have sometimes come across as chaotic, as, like not on the surface what you would expect to see from a soul. So, because there's something that I've been working on lately in regard to chaos spirituality, right? That, I don't know if anyone's seen the chaos gardening stuff on like TikTok and what reels and all that, where instead of sowing all your plants in neat little rows, you just go and chuck seed in the grass and let it grow how it will. And sometimes the wild stuff it grows better. All right, so there's something here about that chaos. Sometimes chaos creates more. Sometimes chaos creates a type of abundance that you can't understand from trying to order things out evenly. And I know that that might be a little bit difficult for you to understand, Virgo, because you are such an ordered sign. Sometimes the best things grow in the chaos. So you may see this person as a bit chaotic or unevolved in certain ways, but their soul, top tier. Not going to lie. That's what I'm seeing there for you, Virgo. You, like I said, more than welcome to cross-watch. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let me know what you thought about the reading in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. Let me know if there's any other topics you would like to see readings on. And I will see you all again soon.